This is the Liberal carbon tax law. This law cannot be eliminated unless Parliament resumes.
Carney is following in Justin Trudeau's footsteps. Welcome back to Listen Loose. My name's David. Today we got Mark Carney flying around Europe, going over to France and England. Why? We don't know why. He should be dealing with Trump and China, considering they're ones putting tariffs on Canada. We also got Kevin O'Leary destroying the Liberals on American news. I was digging around in foreign affairs and I found $33 million has been spent just last month on healthcare in other countries, corrupt warlord countries in Africa, when Canada's healthcare system is absolutely crumbling, among a bunch of other stories. Let's jump into this. So first up, we got this one here from the Prime Minister of Canada account. Says Prime Minister Carney travels to France and United Kingdom to strengthen ties. Why? Are we going to be conscripted soon? The reason I say that is this clip here. So we've got British Prime Minister Starmer here saying Britain will now move into an operational phase, talking about boots on the ground and planes in the air. They don't want this Ukraine-Russia conflict to end here.
And we agreed to accelerate our practical work to support a potential deal. So we will now move into an operational phase. Our militaries will meet on Thursday this week here in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, okay. Why is Starmer desperately trying to drag Britain into conflict with Russia while the rest of the world are having peace talks? Don't know. Maybe Carney wants to drag Canada into this too. Moving over to this one from Juno News, we've got Northvolt files for bankruptcy after $2.7 billion subsidy from Canadians. The Swedish battery developer and manufacturer filing bankruptcy, raising serious doubts about whether its planned Cpac factory will ever come to fruition. So Francois-Philippe Champagne has been running around trying to find more funding for this. It says here in a statement on Wednesday, Northvolt said that following an exhaustive effort to explore all financial means to secure a viable financial and operational future for the company, the board of directors of Northvolt today announced that it has filed for bankruptcy in Sweden. Congratulations, guys. Another battery company that has completely failed, wasting our tax dollars. The amount of money that they could have built like multiple bridges from Vancouver to Vancouver Island. I just use that as a ridiculous example because it is ridiculous. That's how much money's been wasted. Next up, we got Pierre Poilievre running an excellent ad on CBC.
Binds us together is the Canadian promise that anyone from anywhere can do anything. That hard work gets you a great life in a beautiful house on a safe street, wrapped in the protective arms of a solid border defended by brave soldiers under a proud flag. To preserve that flag and its promise, we must work together, fight together, and win together. That is what it means to put Canada first.
That's a good ad. That's a really good ad. So essentially, Pierre is funding CBC when zero of his base watch it, got it. His comms team is so bad. This is off point. If you look at my channel, the ads that run on it are all liberal, protecting Canada, NDP garbage, because they're trying to sway people who watch this channel back over to the NDP or the Liberals. So Pierre putting this on the CBC is trying to inform brainwashed Canadians on the CBC to not vote for the Liberals, but vote for the Conservatives. That's how it works. Conservatives need to go back to affordability and asking if Canadian lives have improved over the last 10 years in their ads. I think that's a great point. Because now that Carney has removed that carbon tax, just go back to the roots of the housing prices, the economy just being decimated, and Canadians not being able to afford to live. That's right on point. On this episode of Far Off Ripoff, so we've got a double whammy here. We've got $30 million going to the Democratic Republic of Congo and Chad for strengthening their health system resilience in a time when Canada's emergency rooms have operating hours. So if you have a dramatic emergency and you need help, they could be closed. But we're sending $30 million to corrupt African warlord-run countries. So you can see here, split 50-50 between Chad and Democratic Republic of Congo. Expected outcome of this project includes improved equitable utilization of quality health services that are resilient to multi-shock, meet the priority of women's needs, They want to improve healthcare in Chad and Democratic Republic of Congo when we quite literally have Canadians who will go to the hospital in unbelievable pain and die in the waiting room because there's not enough doctors in our country. This is sick. These are people who pay taxes and then get screwed over by the government. We got another one here, Democratic Republic of Congo, emergency health support. $3.1 million. So this goes on to have a whole bunch of things. Populations face insecurity, malnutrition. I mean, Canadians are skipping meals now too. And I get it, these people need help. Canada can't help them right now. Our government's been run so poorly, we don't have the money anymore to help these places. And if anything, that's Justin Trudeau's legacy. He's let everyone down. And the only one who's been propped up is himself. So it goes on to list a whole bunch of emergency health services. Once again, Canada needs this money. $3 million bucks. I'm sure that goes a long way to help a community that's got hospitals that are lacking staff, lacking doctors. Disgraceful. And I'm not making this stuff up. Family identifies man who perished following hours-long wait in Winnipeg ER. Sister wants answers about Chad Christopher Griffin, 49, who died after being brought to the hospital by ambulance. It says he perished after waiting about 8 hours to be seen at Manitoba's largest hospital. Yet the Liberals are sending $30 million plus $3 million, $33 million just in this last month to the Democratic Republic of Congo to improve their healthcare system. Why? Are you kidding me? One other thing I wanted to point out about those two spendings, the $30 and the $3 million, that's just from last month. This is not something from 5 years ago. They're actively spending our money on hospitals in corrupt warlord countries when our hospitals do not have proper funding. This is not right. Got this one here. This is the Protecting Canada truck. It's the same sort of thing as the Rebel News truck. So this is sitting in Ottawa. It's funny, I just paused it on this frame. It says source Rachel Gilmore. This is January 2025. That's not a credible news source. Rachel Gilmore is not credible. Polyev bankrolled by U.S. private hospital owners. This is slanderous crap.
This is on Laurier Avenue. Unbelievable.
The difference between this truck and the Rebel News one is the Rebel News one, they're posting something that really happened. It's Mark Carney with Joffrey Eggstein's girlfriend associate.
Oh, look at that. There's no driver in there. So they just parking these things in random spots in Ottawa? That's interesting. What kind of world are we living in?
And yeah, where the source is Rachel Gilmore. Okay. Yeah, there's people noticing it right here. How low can you go? Everyone's bringing it up. So much misinformation. Next up, we got a clip here from Fox News. It's a combination of pointing out unbelievable hypocrisy of these climate eco warriors we have in government, like Justin Trudeau or Mark Carney. They're pointing it out in America. And shortly afterwards, Kevin O'Leary absolutely rips the Liberal government a new one.
Are the ones that are actually torching the environment in the name of saving it. Right now, tens of thousands of acres of the Amazon rainforest are being chopped down to welcome the COP30 climate summit. That's right. This is what they're doing. They're literally paving over the rainforest, and can't forget that private jets, they're going to touch down there to save the planet too, because they're bringing all the important people. Kevin, I want to go to you on this because there's so many different angles. First, of course, there are the regulations, but also let's just start with this hypocrisy, because it also reminds me of the Tesla conversation. You know, EVs and Tesla were all the way up here before Elon Musk aligned with Donald Trump. Now they want to,
this narrative
flush them down the toilet.
This narrative started last year's COP conference when the head of it, who was the UAE leader, stood up and said, all this stuff is BS. None of this works. The trouble with all of this environmental regulation, not only domestically in the U.S., but in other countries, you can't measure the effect of the billions you're spending. There's no index you can use to say this is effective. And over time, depending on who's in the White House, people start looking at it saying, we're spending billions, and what are we getting exactly for it? Now, there is an index you can look at that was a disaster, and it's called Canada, because it was the only place where they kept carbon tax in place for 9.5 years. It crushed the economy. And you can easily look at it, parity on the Canadian dollar when Trudeau came into power, and now down 41%. And they've replaced him. He got kicked out basically because he bankrupted 25% of the Canadians on this whole carbon agenda.
Yeah.
He wiped them out. So you don't want to do that anywhere else. He's the glowing example of how stupid it can be. And they made sure that they tarnished him as the idiot king for it.
Yeah.
And so I think it's very hard to drive that in any country now.
And we were just talking about inflation, Dagan, over the last 4 years and how much that's impacted, the average American that's out there.
Yeah, so Kevin O'Leary is right. The idiot king, Justin Trudeau. We have been the experimentation country to see how badly this ruins lives. Didn't Carney from Canada say companies who don't abide by net zero will be punished? You bet he did. Cutting down thousands of acres of rainforest to host a climate summit. That's exactly what they're doing. It's just outrageous. Cutting down the lush rainforest for their climate summit. I'm a once proud Canadian, but since this idiot PM took over, I no longer boast to other people of the fondness of living in Canada. It's not the country I once recognized. Canada has fallen very far. Jumping over to the G7 here, we got Melanie Joly, as Marty up north here posted, "You're here, you're in our country, you respect our sovereignty, you respect our people." I wish she was talking about new immigrants, but she's not.
What I said to the secretary is Canada's sovereignty is not up to debate, period. There's no argument, there's no conversation about it, there's no need to talk about it. You're here, you respect us, you respect our sovereignty, you're in our country, you respect our people, period.
It would be great if she was talking about the immigrants, but clearly they like to bring in the worst of the worst, so she's not talking about them. Next up, we have 5 people that have been charged for allegedly stealing more than $235,000 worth of alcohol from 50 different LCBO stores across the GTA. There they are. Bunch of friendly characters all straight from India. And here they are. I mean, just put them in jail and put them to work. 10 years in jail each. Get them doing hard manual labor. Enough's enough. I think put them in jail first, get them to work for us, and then once they get out, you put them on this plane and get them out of the country. I like this post here from the food professor. It says nearly 400 academics signed a letter last year supporting the carbon tax despite multiple inaccuracies. They claimed it wouldn't fuel inflation. It does. That most Canadians get back more than they pay. The whole 8 out of 10 garbage we've heard a million times in the House of Commons. They don't when factoring in supply chain costs, and that it won't hurt competitiveness. It has. Now, Carney admits all of this. Next time you see academics pushing an agenda, be skeptical. I pointed this out on the last video. Mark Carney admitted that the carbon tax was causing suffering to Canadians. 8 out of 10 bullcrap is all bullcrap, and that the Liberals lied to us for 9 years. He listed a name of the people. Here are the academics who were licking Trudeau's boots. Here they are. We got them in a list here. Next up, we got this one here. So Liberals posted this tweet saying Mark Carney canceled the carbon tax, and they got community fact-checked here. Canada does not have executive orders. Orders in council are signed by the Governor General of Canada, not the Prime Minister, on the advice of the Prime Minister responsible for the subject of the order. The signed document is in the wrong format also. Pierre Poilievre pointing this out as clear as day. There's no way they could cancel the carbon tax. It was all for show.
This is the Liberal carbon tax law. This law cannot be eliminated unless Parliament resumes to vote it down. Mr. Carney could have asked Trudeau to do that months ago. Mr. Carney could have reconvened Parliament today to vote this law down, but he won't. He will keep the carbon tax law in place even while he temporarily hides the carbon tax from the gas pump for 60 days leading up to the election. And after that election, if God forbid he were reelected, there would be a bigger carbon tax than ever before, because Carney would no longer need your vote, but he'd still need your money. Canadians know that over 10 years, the Trudeau-Carney Liberals doubled the debt, doubled housing costs, and doubled food bank lineup. They've made us weak facing the Americans. Giving the Liberals a fourth term will not change any of that. If you cannot afford food or a home after 3 terms of Liberals, nothing will change after 4.
So all our mainstream media news lied. They never inquired to mention this very important detail. The mainstream media is hiding Carney's butt all the way. Yes, they are. Check out this. The Hudson Bay Company, established in 1670, plans to liquidate its entire business as early as next week, putting over 9,000 jobs at risk. This is so sad, as Mark Nixon has posted 355-year legacy in Canadian retail history, facing bankruptcy because of how badly the Liberals have run the government over the last 9 years. As he says here, 50% of Canadians are just $200 away from financial insolvency. And yet, Liberals still want to vote for this. I can tell you the people who are $200 away, they're not voting for Mark Carney and the Liberals. They're the Laurentian elites that have a lot of money and like the idea of a banker being the Prime Minister. So next up, I got a clip I put up yesterday. It's very embarrassing because it was a raw clip and I don't know how it slipped in there. Not only that, I just fumbled on it over and over. I don't typically fumble and make mistakes on clips, but once you do make a mistake, it just happens over and over. It's a clip of Canada's condo king who says he's going to be working with Mark Carney, which is just going to devastate Canada's real estate prices further. Posted by Shazzy Goalie. It says BC condo king says he's already working with Carney to allow foreign buyers back with preferred rates. Show the world we're open for business. We don't need this problem again in our country. We need the opposite thing.
But I'm working with Carney, surprise, and I'm trying to get a rental program in where people can buy, put it into a 25-year pool, get a preferred rate from CMHC, and let's allow foreign buyers to buy it. They have to rent it out for 25 years, and it'll show the world that we are open for business. But
no, we don't need Chinese buyers buying more Canadian houses. This is disgusting and disgraceful. We should be banning countries from buying our houses, not encouraging them. Have we not learned anything? This whole thing happened because of money laundering from China, dirty money flooding in from Chinese gangsters, buying up Vancouver, and the problem just perpetuated and perpetuated. Then you had this huge influx from India, people buying up everything in the GTA. This has ruined Canada. This crap cannot go forward. In fact, he's already talking to Carney about this. Carney will absolutely ruin this country. Young Canadians will never buy a house in this country, ever. You'll own nothing. Exactly. Artificial growth on taxpayer dime. So basically keep expanding the bubble that is the BC real estate. Exactly. Empty condos. Foreign buyers, you mean money launderers. Guys begging for a bailout. Hilarious. Why and why preferred rates? Yeah, because dirty Chinese buyers want to buy cheap real estate. Legalizing modern slavery. I'm glad the people in the comments here are on point. They all know what's going on here. Great, so prices will skyrocket again. Yeah, this will all happen. Well, there we have it. Just more outrageous, wasteful spending. The Liberals throwing away tons of cash, whether it's Northvolt or $33 million on hospitals in the Democratic Republic of Congo or Chad. This madness must end. We can't keep having these guys just keep wasting our money, not only just throwing it away on stupid projects, but also funneling it illegally into their companies. All of them involved should be in jail, whether it's Randy Bausenaut or Annette Verschuren, Stephen Guilbeault, Arrive Scam, anyone who's involved in any of that. All of these green slush funds, there was like 19 companies that got hundreds of millions or billions of dollars with no requirement to actually make their companies more environmentally efficient, lower pollution. It's all been a scam to steal our money. There needs to be jail time, but the RCMP don't care. They're protecting them. What Canada needs right now is an election.